What's up, guys? Hey, I wasn't going to do a video on this, but big James Stewart has got himself into a little hot water. I'm going to go elaborate on that. And then also, I'm focusing on my MMA channel. If you guys could head over there to Cooksey Media MMA, I would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers to get that one monetized, and I want to start working both channels. So you'll see a lot more videos. At the end of this video, I'll throw a little taste of what I put up there. But if you can head over to the MMA page and give it a subscription, I would really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. And also check and see if you're subscribed here, because some people have been being unsubscribed, and I don't know why.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Real quick, I want to thank Coach Rob. Coach Rob has got a new podcast about amateur racing and navigating it. If you want to go check that out, that would be awesome. Epic Garage Designs, coolest stuff for your garage. Please check them out at epicgaragedesigns.com. Ride Strapped for your goggles, glasses, and t-shirts. And if you're shipping anything, use Precision Transport at pretransport.com. So Big James Stewart, he is an intimidating guy. And I've had good interactions with Big James. I like him. The first time I met him was at an event. It was a Tucker Rocky event. James had just signed with Answer. Nobody was talking to Big James at this big event. And I'll be honest, people were like, oh my gosh, there's Big James. And I just went up and started talking to him. He couldn't have been nicer. But yes, he has a mean look on his face. And every other time I've seen him, I don't know if he knows who I am or not, but he always makes sure to give me a wink or say hello. So I have a soft spot for Big James Stewart. I like him. But what happened at Indianapolis, this sucks. And if it's true, man, Big James kind of messed this one up. So it's being reported that Big James got upset with a fan. He was watching one of the Triple Crown races and somebody asked him for a photo during the race and he just lost it. Now, I get it. You shouldn't ask Big James for a photo during the race when his son's out there racing. With that said, man, I get it. Big James can be grumpy. He can be that kind of guy. He's pretty intense. But in the future, guys, wait until he looks like he's not busy. Then you can get a picture with Big James. I guess the fan even waited until after the moto to actually get it. So while I don't think you should ask him during the moto, Big James, come on. You got to be nicer than that. You got to understand. But then look at it. Malcolm's been having a really bad year. It's not all happy times in that Stewart camp right now as far as racing's going on. Maybe Big James is feeling the pressure. After this, once Malcolm's done, they don't go racing that much. And I think Big James really, really thrives on going racing. And I think it might be stressing him out that this era of being at the races for this long might be over. Then the second situation is Big James so he leaves after the first one. And I guess someone else at Husqvarna apologized and tried to right the situation. Big James comes back. And let me set the scene for Indianapolis. This was a huge crowd. I doubt there were very many empty seats. A lot of times what happens is people from the pits, they give you and they say standing room only, or you can just go sit where there's an empty seat. In a sold out stadium, that's an issue. That might have pissed him off too. That might have had him a little bit grumpy that he'd had nowhere to sit to watch his own kid race in Supercross. No, it doesn't justify acting like a maniac. But like I said, I wasn't there. I don't have this firsthand. I'm getting this from people who've sent it to me, the story and where it has escalated. And I've seen some photos. So clearly it happened. Obviously, I'd love to hear Big James's side of this, but I don't think he cares enough to even talk about it. So the third moto rolls around. Big James had left, probably went back, debriefed, talked to Malcolm, whatever they're doing. Now he's watching the third race, and he's standing behind the family. This is the floor level where wheelchairs sit. They put out temporary chairs, and a lot of the team members will stand behind those. That's the standing room only seats. Big James was standing behind those. This little kid was sitting there. They paid for these seats. They didn't just jump in these seats. They paid for these seats. This little kid getting excited like they do, talking to his brother and not using his seat. Big James decided to take the seat. Didn't ask. You gotta at least ask, and then you can take the seat. I get it. He was intense. The race is going on. His mind is somewhere else. He took the seat. It was a very entitled move, and it's disappointing. And then, instead of getting out of the chair, when they asked him to get out of the chair, he got really pissed, and it turned into like a shouting match. The gentleman who made the post is in a wheelchair and said there's nothing he could do. He wanted the cops there. He thought it was going to escalate. Man, while I love Big James, and like I said, he's been nothing but good to me, you can't do this. This is a family. This is a family who paid big money to come see your son race. These are the people that make this industry go. These are the fans. They're the ones that truly matter. You cannot, even if they're a little bit in the wrong and they ask you for a picture while the race is going on, you can't yell at them. You can't scream at them. You just can't. Just be happy that they still want to take a picture with you. And I understand that probably doesn't mean anything to Big James, but one day it might, when his grandkids are looking at it and they're like, oh, that person likes you. And then also, I want to get back to where James is coming from. James might be a little bitter, and I hate to bring in the race card, but you guys forget, Big James was doing this sport when it was a very racist sport. I grew up in the 80s. This was a white sport, period. There was a kid that came in front of James Stewart. His name was Tony Haynes. They came right after Tony Haynes. And I remember racing against Tony Haynes at Loretta Lynn's. And I must have heard the N-word a lot. It wasn't good, but that was the time. Times have changed. It's not like that anymore. Although I don't know, because I'm not Big James and I don't hear those things. But when you've heard those things for 15, 20 years, they probably wear on you. And I understand why he's running a little bit hot and a little bit angry. But just, man, I love Big James. He is a gift to the sport. His kids are a gift to the sport. And, I talk about Ricky Carmichael taking from the sport. The Stewarts have given. They have brought new eyeballs, new attention, and they literally kicked down that race door. Up until that time, it was an issue. I'm telling you. Those of you kids that grew up in the early 2000s and stuff, post James Stewart, it was different. This was a white sport. It was a big deal when James was the first one to win. I know it sucks to think back that far, but it was. It really was. And they have been called things and said things. And maybe Big James is just getting a little crusty in his old age. With that said, it's still never okay to do what he did. But I'm sorry, I can't get mad at Big James because I like him so much and I just understand what him and his family mean to the sport. So, yeah, I'm sorry, family, that sucks. That sucks that somebody who you looked up to did that. And I hope Big James can just kind of take a step back and say, yeah, I guess, I got to be a little bit softer. But I also, like I said, I see his point of view. So I hope Big James is a little nicer moving forward. You might want to cherish these moments because once Malcolm's done, I don't see James' kids being in the mix anytime soon. And I don't know that Malcolm even has kids. So it's going to be a while before you're back at the races in this capacity. So just sit back, enjoy it, and maybe get a couple more years out of Malcolm. All right, guys, remember, if you need a real estate agent, I'm your guy. And here's a quick clip from my MMA page. And then I'll have a link to the video at the very end. If you want to go subscribe, man, I would appreciate it. I really need to get that one monetized and start getting a little bit extra income so I can do more of this YouTube stuff and really tackle this a little bit more. I think if I get 2 channels, I might be able to become a full-time YouTuber. So thanks, guys. Appreciate everything. He was convicted. He still says he didn't do it. But he's done some stuff, man.
Talk about fornicating with you and letting you suck my because fornicate more than other people. It's just who I am. I sacrificed so much of my life. Can I at least get a blowjob? Are you talking out of turn?
No, I think we're all talking together.
I normally don't do interviews with women unless I fornicate with them. So you shouldn't talk anymore. Unless you wanna. I'm just ready to get it on and crush this guy's skull.
I'll eat your ass alive, you bitch. You're scared, coward, scared like a little white.
He lucky I didn't bite his throat off. You know you're a real prick. You're gonna get Kevin killed. Yeah. Him like a come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
I was a limo driver in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s in Arizona when Mike Tyson lived there. And I can tell you some stories. So as a limo driver, you get to sit back and talk to the owners of these clubs, the general managers of these clubs. A lot of stuff happened. Some of it even made the news. They did their best because they made so much money off of Mike Tyson that they covered it up. They only had girls go in the VIP room who were willing to go all the way, and they just turned their heads. Why on earth would he take this match? Well, I understand why he would, but why would Jake Paul do it? What a dumbass. Does he understand this is a lose-lose situation for him? No matter how this goes for Jake, if he flatlines a legend at 58 years old, a senior citizen, Jake Paul, you just flatlined a senior citizen, a legend, somebody who literally rebuilt their life from nothing. And I mean, he was so self-destructive.